Moonraker?
What do you know about Moonraker?
Moonraker is the 11th entry in the James Bond film series. Although the 11th outing was originally announced to be for your eyes only at the end of The Spy Who Loved Me, due to the popularity of Star Wars, the producers at Eon changed course and developed a story that would take Bond
beyond the stratosphere,
and use the name of Ian Fleming's third Bond novel to capitalise on this concept. Although obviously taking cues from the popularity of Star Wars, with the use of space as a setting, Moonraker still very much acts and feels like a James Bond film, and, like its predecessor, again uses the 1967 James Bond film, You Only Live Twice, as a loose framework for its story. Almost everything from Ian Fleming's original Moonraker novel is completely jettisoned, apart from the character name of Hugo Drax, a scene where Bond is trapped under the engines of Drax's rocket,
although the scenario and context is completely different,
and his fascistic plot of exterminating humanity and replacing them with a new super race of beautiful people, vaguely being similar to his fascistic plot of destroying London in revenge for World War II in the novel. Hugo Drax was a fat ginger Nazi in Ian Fleming's 1955 novel, disguising himself as a rich English aristocrat. Some of this concept will be deployed very, very loosely for Gustav Graves in Die Another Day. But here Hugo Drax is very much a French Blofeld, dressing in the same Nehru jacket, and having the same megalomaniacal dreams of world domination.
You French pig!
However, Lonsdale very much makes the character his own, giving Drax a quiet menace and a sardonic sense of humour. He takes the cliché of the villain never killing Bond to the absolute limit. There are literally armed guards with machine guns there. But the conceit is Drax wants to amuse himself by giving Bond the funniest and most embarrassing death possible. The character for me is the clear highlight of the film, and an improvement over the similar Blofeld clone Stromberg in The Spy Who Loved Me. Another improvement is in the character of Holly Goodhead, played by Lois Child. As much as I had a massive schoolboy crush on the gorgeous Barbara Bach in The Spy Who Loved Me, she wasn't much of an actress and is to me the clear weak link in that film. Childs is a much better actress and has more chemistry with Bond, as well as doing a more effective job in the action scenes, of being a true equal to the British super spy. What I truly love about Moonraker is how large it is. The scope of the film is pretty much unrivaled in the Bond canon. Its predecessor cost just under $14 million to produce. Moonraker, by comparison, cost $33 million. Adjusted for inflation, it's still the most expensive Bond film produced, and its stupendous cost is all on screen. The freefall pre-title sequence is one of the best in the series, and boasts incredible skydiving stunts from BJ Worth and his team, taking over 60 takes to complete the sequence. Filmed completely for real, the team wore parachutes under their costumes for filming. It's an amazing way to start the film. Ken Adam outdoes himself with the set design of Drax's Amazonian headquarters and the space station, and the film boasts some of the most sumptuous photography out of the entire series. However, unlike Gilbert's two earlier entries, Moonraker seems to contain random acts of harsh violence, as well as Corinne Clary's secondary Bond girl character being torn apart by dogs, with the sequence being shot like a horror film. However, it characterises the messiness of the film that such a harsh fate for the character is never addressed again. Moonraker does have a meandering quality, just wandering from set piece to set piece, not really knowing how to establish any connective tissue. Things just happen, and the film relies on Bond just stumbling into situations without much investigative work. The set pieces are too easy for Bond to get out of, often relying on one of Q's gadgets to get out of a situation. It's a film that's very much focused on spectacle, with the ethos of bigger being better. The film doesn't feel as tight or meticulously crafted as its predecessor in terms of the action sequences or direction. With the massive success of The Spy Who Loved Me, you get the feeling that the filmmakers realised they could get away with making slightly less effort in certain areas, as the film was guaranteed to be a success no matter what. Due to his popularity, Jaws is back as the only returning henchman in the series to date. It seems like the filmmakers didn't really know how to integrate him into the story. There is even a clumsily directed scene of Drax on the phone asking to hire Jaws, apparently from the Hire a Henchman hotline. It's also a silly overreach to give Jaws a girlfriend who he falls for immediately after a confrontation with Bond in Brazil on a cable car. The decision to blast James Bond off into space remains a controversial one amongst film fans. I, for one, am fine with it, as the sequence is played straight, and treated with the awe and respect it deserves. The reveal shot of Drax's space station is spine-tingling, and John Barry's lush and operatic score blends perfectly with it. In fact, I think Moonraker showcases some of Barry's best work for the series, with his cues lending some much-needed gravitas to this silly, silly film. The cue for the space laser battle complements the epic visuals on display. It's obviously the underwater battle from Thunderball just transplanted into space, with the US military inexplicably having trained astronauts go into battle with Drax's henchmen, and also anticipating this despite Drax's station being visible to radar. But it doesn't matter, as Derek Medding's work on the visual effects is spectacular. With almost all elements composited in camera, it results in clean and detailed effects work that largely holds up to this day. I would say I am more positive on Moonraker than others. It's a film I didn't really like as a child, but now as a grown man, I've come to appreciate it for the daft comic book fun that it is. The filmmakers and producers aimed for grand spectacle, and they largely achieved it.
007. My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.